Hi. Today I'm going to be talking about the inspiration tree. I'll be probably making a video like this for each of these rune pages, but I figured I might as well start with the inspiration tree because that seems like the most confusing tree. Uh, so yeah. So when we look at the inspiration tree, a lot of it seems like it might not be as good as actual runes, but you need to use your brain while using this rune page for it to actually be utilized. So I'll just go from Glacial, left to right, and then down row, left to right, left to right, left to right. That makes sense. So we'll start with Glacial. Glacial right now is fairly good. It's a support rune mainly. I think there's other champs that can use it, but in specific I don't really have a example on hand, but I feel like there is a way you can allow other champs to maybe use this rune, and I think it's in a good place right now, especially if they keep tacking on healing and shielding power to other champs like kits, like they did Janna recently, and the way it synergizes with Glacial Augment Slow. But anyway, I think it's just kind of a support rune. Maybe it'll see as much strength as Summon Airy or Guardian, so you have 3 choices as a support, instead of almost always just running Guardian, I feel now, but having more runes for class is always good. Next is Unsealed Spellbook, and this was always used to take advantage of your TP cooldown. So you would always swap out your TP, or you would just use this if you didn't need a other summoner spell, because alright, if you didn't need a different keystone, because most champs don't really see much benefit from this. If I were to list specific examples, in the past it was Orianna, Twisted Fate, maybe Ornn, I think I saw back in the day, but it's not that good right now. I think it could use maybe a couple of buffs, because it just seems a little unreliable almost. Like, the meta right now is so functioning around winning lane that not running a keystone or a way to get back in the game, like First Strike, which I'll talk about in a second, just puts you at such a big disadvantage, especially since you can't TP to minions anymore when you swap with it until, 14 minutes, like how normal TP works. So overall, I think this rune needs a buff, but I hope you can understand that it's used to it's kind of almost a support rune. Think of it that way. Because you get to keep using different summoner spells. Let's say one time you can bait with barrier, or you can exhaust the opponent, or you can heal your teammate, or heal to bait the opponent, or you can ghost and run people down with like a slow or something, or like position in a fight well with ghost. It's just, or you can get someone off guard with ignite from it. It was just used as a utility rune so you can have the best summoner spell for the fight, but summoner spells are less useful now, I feel, than they were. It seems more of the powers in the items and the kits than the actual summoner spells brought. But yeah. Next is First Strike. First Strike is really good. First Strike's, it's not an early game rune, It's a mid-game rune. You use your mid-game damage to get extra gold, and then with that gold, you hit your items faster than the enemies. Early game, this isn't gonna give you more than probably the maximum I'm guessing you're gonna get from lane phase is like 350, which is still good, but the chances of actually getting that much are not very realistic. But that being said, this is still a really good rune. I mean, at mid game, champs like Jace are getting over 100 gold with an EQ if they swap to melee form after. And Jace is a champ that, with gold, functions very exceedingly well. So, on certain champs that need that extra snowball potential, this rune is really good. Next, Hex Flash. Hex Flash is an okay rune. I'd say it's a support rune. The best part about Hex Flash is being able to flash from the bot lane bush to like the middle bush, or like the middle bush to the like far bush in bot lane. Because when you are able to do that, you don't get shown in vision unless they have a ward, and it's mainly only good to be able to flank behind turrets early as a support or get in position in a team fight. I could see a world where champs like Kennen maybe bring this, so they can get into a good flank position using Hex Flash, but usually you just pick fights around your normal flash, so that's why it's only really good in earlier to mid game as like a roaming support rune. Magical Footwear gives you technically a free 300 gold and extra 10 movement speed, but you can't buy boots. This rune's really good on champs that don't necessarily need boots early, or champs that want to rush their mythic fast. So, like, a lot of mages this is good with, because they don't need the boots necessarily to farm through mid lane, because they're not constantly in danger or needing to run away. I think this is just one size fits all situation. This rune's consistently the best in this row. And then next, Perfect Timing. This rune punishes people who don't pay attention beforehand. Because, I mean, obviously you can bait people with the free stopwatch who weren't paying attention, but also, logically, this forces you into buying an item, but it saves you 650 gold on that item, right? So, I guess I'd say it's really good into comps where you need to build Zanyas on a mage. I don't think this is ever really a good choice for an AD champ, because I don't think an ADC should be holding on to this item for the whole game just to build GA, because you're not building GA as one of your first 3 items, or else you're like kind of trolling, or the game's about to end soon and you just need to live. But yeah, I think for certain comps this is a really good rune on mages. Next, Futures Market. I think this rune is overpowered. I think it's a great example of what a rune should be. Or I think it symbolizes what the inspiration tree is all about. I think I'm gonna pull up an example for this rune even. An example I instantly can think of is Ornn. do some runes, I guess. It doesn't really matter. Okay. I'll just get into practice tool with Orn real quick for an example. Another example I won't show is starting Sapphire Crystal on, here's Gragas as a Poro. Anyway, starting Sapphire Crystal on Malzahar or Victor, and buying Lost Chapter after the first, I think it's 5 waves. But this example will be you buy Cloth Armor on Orn, and if you farm... Okay, let's hope I don't miss any of these minions, right? That would be embarrassing. What if we just made it so I can't? I don't really want to embarrass myself. Let's just... just get this example going. Obviously, I'm not going to clear this fast in the normal game. Let's say the wave would probably be cleared right around when the second wave comes up. And as you can see, I can already afford my Bramble Vest at 2 minutes and 10 seconds. I mean, how does like a champ like Jax or Fiora even play versus this now? Although you have little sustain, you have a TP, so you can just sit on this, take favorable trades, and then just use this as an advantage. I mean, this is a huge lead. If you play top lane, you know what it's like going against an Orn with a Bramble Vest, and he can get it at 2 minutes if he uses this rune. So I think this rune just doesn't get enough love. I think it's underutilized, and overall I think it's maybe the best inspiration rune in the right hands and on the right champs. That being said, the next rune is also very good if you need it. Next on is Minion Dematerializer, and Minion Dematerializer can help you shove waves faster. It can farm a minion that you otherwise might not get. It can shove waves faster in 2 different ways, actually. You can use this to dematerialize the cannon as soon as a wave comes in and then shove it under, or you can use these on mage minions and melee minions so that your abilities will kill them. Usually you use it on mage minions, so your abilities kill those minions faster, which is very good on... We see it a lot on champs like Twisted Fate, but it's also very good on champs like Vladimir. It's good on, because that makes his E kill the wave 1 level earlier, usually. Other champs like Gragas kind of like it, because, I mean, he can just kill, like, it's good to use it on the melee minions on Gragas, because he already one-shots mage minions, usually. But, yeah, I mean, it just is so useful for controlling the map that it's also... It's kind of a brain teaser of a rune, though. I mean, the usage of this changes with every champ in every game. But overall, I think if you can master the usage of this rune, you should have priority in your lane almost all the time. It's a very good rune. Biscuit Delivery also is a fairly good rune. This whole row is really good. But Biscuit Delivery, I feel, is at the weakest it's been since its release. And a lot of the times, you don't even see yourself needing, like, the biscuits themselves. But also, the biscuits are useful even if you sell them, if you need to go a tier item, because they increase your maximum mana by 150 when you use all three of them. So, usually I run biscuits plus mana flow band if I plan on using a tier item, because that's a bonus 400 mana, and that's just really strong with a tier item, and just overall good, but I wouldn't say run it all the time. I think if you're running biscuits every game, you should try these other two runes and think if you're going to build a tier item versus that team. Cosmic Insight. This rune is good, but so back on the glacial augment on something like Janna and Moonstone, this item haste stat works on Moonstone Renewer's healing cooldown, and it works on like Luden's cooldown, Rocket Bell obviously, and Everfrost. Works on Predator Boots, which is probably the the best usage of this rune if you're running Predator. It's also just kind of a must bring on jungle, because getting Smite upgraded before the enemy jungle lets you pressure the map so much more. It lets you pressure objectives, it lets you win 1v1s if you have Red Smite, especially, because if you Red Smite an opponent and they don't have Red Smite, chances are you'll win unless they're fed. This rune's overall very good, and kind of something I would run every time in jungle, every time if I have Predator, and yeah. Approach Velocities next. This is probably the most interesting idea to me. I think this rune, in theory, sounds good and also bad at the same time. Because if you're slowing an enemy champion, that already means that you should catch them, so you don't need the extra movement speed. But also, I think that it's a pretty good rune anyway, because the extra movement speed can be helpful if you need it. Also, another thing that I haven't really thought about until just now with this rune is champs like, I'll say Vladimir again, who channel their E. I want to say that this gives you movement speed towards him while he's getting slowed by that ability. Although I have not tested it. I wonder if I can go into Practice Tool and check real quick if a Vladimir dummy will use his E. I guess I'll go intermediate. Maybe he'll be more useful. Just want to say that's gold 4-7 wins for TFT. I haven't placed yet, although I am gold 3. But yeah, doesn't really matter. I'll just pick Ornn again. Screw it. I just wanna. Yeah, I'm gonna get this off the screen. Show or check if it works versus Vladimir slow. Okay. Maybe I can. Sure, let's level up. Screw it. I believe they usually come bot lane, right? Oh, here he is. Hey! Shoot, I didn't know he would be scared of me because I'm higher level. What about if I do this? Yo! What? Do something, man! Okay, well this is scuffed. Maybe he'll use it on the wave or something? Let's just check if he'll use it on the wave, so I can maybe try there. Does he not use abilities on the wave? Uh-huh. Okay. I'm worried now. Yo, what is going on? Use your E. Use your E. Hello? Use your E. Okay, well this is not a good example, I guess, is it? Okay, so well, he wasn't moving. Okay, well, I guess we'll never see. It did seem like no, though. Why did he just E like that? It's almost like he was, like, taunting me. Okay, use your E. He doesn't move while he's channeling his E. I'm gonna just say it doesn't work. So, scratch that idea. But it could work, and that just wasn't working. I'll try it another day and see if it works. Next up is Time Warp Tonic, or I guess I should say lastly is Time Warp Tonic. And Time Warp Tonic is not very good, I'd say. I'd say there's almost no reason to run this except for baiting people with the burst heal. The extra 5% movement speed isn't that good, and also the instant health. I mean, you're selling your potions at least I sell my potions fairly soon in the game. Unless, I guess, you buy this on corrupting pots. But I think corrupting pots aren't something you should be holding on to for very long either. So, I think overall this just isn't that good. It used to be a lot better, but I'd say almost never really want to run Time Warp Tonic unless you're trying to bait people, or I guess there's certain situations where the movement speed might be clutch, like a Jax using Counter-Strike, but overall I think this is not that good in this row. So, yeah, I guess that's all there is to talk about for the inspiration tree. If you have any other questions, I guess just ask them in the comments, but yeah, thanks for watching.